Hey, Karen.
Hey, good morning, Jane.
Good morning. Hey, so why don't you make us all hate you and tell us how the weather is there in lovely Arizona?
Oh my gosh, it's sunny right outside these windows, and I think it's in the 60s. A little breeze today, but yeah, it's going to be an amazing day here. So yeah,
Cool.
and
Well,
you guys have lots of snow on the ground, I'm sure.
yes, we do, but we love it.
Yeah,
Remember, you
yeah,
gotta love to play outside. That's all there is to it. You just
yeah.
your childhood. Bundle up. So thank you so much for joining me. Fans of the framework, this is something new that we're doing twice monthly. It's called Just Start with Jane. And there are leaders that shine above all when it comes to transforming an organization. And certainly my guest today, Karen Stockton from Chandler Regional Medical Center of the Dignity Health System, is one of those. So the type of people that I'm going to be interviewing on Just Start with Jane is early adopters and people who, when they hear an idea, think, all right, that's the right thing to do. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna make it mine, make it better. But essentially, like our mantra, just start, this is something that a person like you just did. So I'm deeply
Mhm.
honored that everyone I've asked thus far has said, heck yeah, I'll go on Facebook Live and tell my story about how I put one of the capstone leadership solutions in place and made greatness. So thanks, Karen, for joining me.
Oh yeah.
And the reason why I reached out to Karen, as you know, we recently had our very first ever, the whole month of December was spent in a virtual summit. So it's the first time we'd ever done that. We had 40 leaders with us. And at the end of December, Sue and Whitney and I decided to meet with those leaders, those people who could show up on that day, and do a postmortem of the virtual summit. What went well, what didn't go well. And as we always do, we ask the question, hey, so what did you take? What did you learn at the summit that you went right back to work and put in place? Because as a trainer and somebody who helps to develop leaders, those are the things that we want to emphasize in the future. And I shared this with Karen, but for the audience to know, Karen was what they took back with them to their different parts of the country. And what they said was how she talked about rounding and what an impact it made on her team, most specifically, the point that Karen makes about Navy SEAL versus Park Ranger was the number one thing from our summit that people took back and put in place in their own leadership. So tell us about that.
Sure. Thanks again, Jane, for having me today. Right now, and leadership is hard. That's kind of what I want to start out with is even the normal day-to-day leadership, we're managing a lot of different priorities. But right now in healthcare, with the COVID pandemic and managing all the acute illnesses we're seeing from folks not getting the care that they've needed preventatively, it's like we have so much on our plate. So as leaders, we want to do everything for our employees all the time. And so I do like to use the analogy of the leaders as Navy SEALs. We jump in the middle of anything. Our staff come to us and say, I need this help. What do I do about this? And, the Navy SEAL leader in us jumps right in and we take care of everything. So I like to kind of preface it with, if you even think about is you, let's say you went out into the middle of the forest and, you got lost, right? To rescue, the rescue going right in, Navy SEALs will go in, grab you, lift you up in a helicopter, take you away, and you're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for saving my life, right? But let's say you go out hiking again, or you go out in the middle and you get lost again. The Navy SEALs come in and they rescue you. So every time the Navy SEALs are there for you, they'll rescue you. And as leaders, that's what we do. We rescue our employees. What can I do to help? But what I like to kind of teach people and talk to them about is the kind of the park ranger park ranger model, which is if you get lost and you're in the middle of the forest, the park ranger will come to you and pull out their map and their compass and say, oh my gosh, you got lost. Let's talk about how we can get you back. You know, teaches you how to read a map, teaches you how to read your compass and get you out of the forest. So next time you get lost, maybe, you know, you can kind of find your way back. So as leaders, if we're out and about trying to figure out how we can best help our employees, especially right now, I always am looking at, can I look at them on how they can get this resource? Like, for example, you know, PPE has been a hot topic for us in the acute care, or even in clinics. You know, we want to make sure our staff are protected. And we implemented the use of reusable gowns. And, you know, one day the staff were telling me, you know, like the cuffs were getting a little too tight and there was something going on with the product. And so out rounding, I reached out to, you know, our housekeeping director, you know, Kelly, and said, hey, you know, can we get out there and round, connecting the leaders of those areas with the employees on the unit to say, hey, this is Kelly. He wants to make sure we have the best product. You know, so he circled back with some folks, you know, to figure out, and I think they were drying the product too much, and that's why the cuffs were getting too tight. So we actually got that remedied. But then, so the next time, if there is something that goes on, you know, if I'm out there rounding, they can always talk to me. But now they've established a relationship with, you know, Kelly, who's the director of that area or the manager of that area. So getting out, proactively rounding and showing them, you know, if this is something that happens again, you know, this is kind of how we work through it. So giving them the resources and the tools to, if there is a concern or a problem, that they can kind of reach out to those individuals. And it kind of empowers them, because you know what I kind of hear over and over when I'm out rounding, when I ask very purposeful questions about how they're doing, what's going well. And then if I ask if there's any challenges or anything I can help with, they're like, oh my gosh, Karen, you have so much on your plate. I don't want to worry about anything, you know? And so I think it's in how you ask it and how you empower them, you know, and saying, you know, I want you to have the best work environment. You know, these are challenging times. Any little bit that I can help with, or, you know, we can figure out together, you know, and then they kind of start opening up to say, yeah, if we could just have this, or, you know, so it's, so that's, I guess, the analogy. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted me to kind of to point out, but I think as leaders right now, when I started in opening and saying leadership is hard, you know, it's so hard right now, but I find myself daily, what, you know, fuels and refills my bucket is when I do get out there and I'm rounding with the staff intentionally and asking, you know, real purposeful questions about, you know, what's going well, and then what I can help with, or, you know, if there's anything on their radar about, you know, keeping them safe, and then recognition, like what people are doing, you know, really well. Who can I thank for making a difference for you today? And, you know, it's been really good and helped us to continue to, you know, be proactive and not wait for, you know, everything to be on fire before we're like, you know, like, why didn't you tell me about that? You know, so I think it's helped me to get out there and stay up front and current on what the needs folks have. So
Absolutely. I mean, and every time you've taught for us, you've told your audiences what a gift rounding has been to your career as a leader.
Yeah.
And, you know, so often leaders don't believe us when we say how proactive it can be. But imagine in a pandemic, Karen, dealing with the stressors that you and your team have right now. You know, what if you were a Navy SEAL all the time? You're just creating more work for you, when actually you should be focusing on really important things like, you know, I don't have PPE to wear right now in this situation, versus, hey, I ran out of staples. Can you order them for me? You know, no, I'll teach you how to order them.
And I think, sorry, Jane, just one other thing. I think what I didn't mention is that the staff feel really good when they're empowered and they can do things for themselves or their team, to help. And it's interesting when you follow up and ask, how did that go? They're like, oh my gosh, it was, I appreciated being able to do that. And, sharing with the team, like, hey, if you need any or have any questions about this, let me know. Cause, either Karen or one of the managers showed me how to do that. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time for our
Yeah.
audience. If you would like to see Karen in action, she and I are going to be in Galena, Illinois, April 28th through the 30th,
April.
live. Yep, at the Capstone Leadership Summit. It's hopefully not going to be virtual this time. But also, if you want to learn more about our leadership bundle and the proactive leadership solutions that we have, go to our website, book a call, capstoneleadership.net. Next week, I'm live in Just Start with Jane with Rita Jury, who is just like Karen, one of our transformational specialists. And Rita refers to herself as the compassion police. So Karen, how would you like this? She's going to talk about how to kind of infuse purpose and compassion with just daily work that frontline caregivers do instead of making it a task, how she infuses people with purpose. So.
Yeah, which is much needed right now in all aspects of healthcare. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Look forward to it.
So, all right. Well, you enjoy your day.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody.
Yep. Enjoy the sunshine. Bye, Karen. Thank you.
Bye, guys.